Hello, welcome to the daily English news program on Azərbaycan Television with the most important events of the day. I'm your host, Ilham Məmmədov. President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Ilham received credentials of newly appointed Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Kyrgyz Republic, Maksat Mamutkanov.
The ambassador presented his credentials to President Ilham Aliyev. The head of state then had a conversation with the ambassador. Ambassador Maksat Mamutkanov conveyed the greetings and best wishes of President of the Kyrgyz Republic, Sadir Japarov, to President Ilham Aliyev. The head of our state expressed gratitude for the greetings and best wishes, asked the ambassador to convey his greetings to President Sadir Japarov. During the conversation, the sides held a development of relations at the level of strategic partnership, noting that bilateral relations between the two countries have significantly developed and reached a qualitatively new stage in recent years. The president of Azerbaijan highlighted the importance of reciprocal visits at the level of heads of state. President Ilham Aliyev underlined that traditional brotherly and friendly ties between the two countries have strengthened. President Ilham Aliyev commended the fact that important projects have been implemented between the two countries in trade, economy, investment, transport and other fields. The head of state once again expressed his gratitude to the Kyrgyz president and people for the school construction project in Agdam district and the support to the construction process, describing it as manifestation of fraternal relations. Noting that there are great plans ahead for the expansion of bilateral cooperation, President Ilham Aliyev expressed his confidence that relations would continue to strengthen. The head of state noted the mutual desire of the leadership of Azerbaijan and Kyrgyzstan to expand economic cooperation and realize existing potential between the two fraternal countries. Touching upon the cooperation between the two countries within the Organization of Turkic States, President Ilham Aliyev described this organization as a family. During the conversation, the sides highlighted the significance of the first informal summit of the Organization of Turkic States to be held in the city of Shusha and the dialogue and discussions to be conducted by the heads of state at this event. The president of Azerbaijan wished the ambassador success in his endeavors. Expressing his gratitude for the kind words, Maksat Mamutkanov emphasized his confidence in the continued strengthening of bilateral relations. He mentioned that the president of Kyrgyzstan had tasked him with expanding the relations and assured that he would spare no effort in this direction. The ambassador noted the high level of interaction between the countries, stating that Azerbaijan's substantial investments in Kyrgyzstan significantly contribute to the country's economic development. Maksat Mamutkanov stressed the great potential for further strengthening the cooperation, adding that the relationship and efforts between the heads of state have laid the foundation for the successful development of bilateral ties. Touching upon the significance of the state visit of President of Kyrgyzstan to Azerbaijan this April, the ambassador highlighted that the visit was very successful and yielded positive results. He noted the importance of the establishment of the Azerbaijan-Kyrgyzstan Development Fund and its contribution to the development of cooperation between the two countries. Maksat Mamutkanov mentioned that the construction of a five-star hotel by Azerbaijan on the shores of Isyk-Kul Lake in Kyrgyzstan would play a significant role in the development of the country's resort sector. The diplomat expressed his gratitude for the respect shown by Azerbaijan for the heritage and memory of the prominent Kyrgyz writer Chingiz Aytmatov, recalling with satisfaction the unveiling of a monument to the distinguished writer in Baku during the state visit of Sadir Japarov to Azerbaijan with the participation of the presidents of both countries. The president of Azerbaijan noted that Chingiz Aytmatov is a son of the entire Turkic civilization and enjoys great fame worldwide. The meeting also included an exchange of views on joint initiative opportunities between Azerbaijan and Kyrgyzstan within the framework of COP29.
President Ilham Aliyev received credentials of newly appointed Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Canada, Kevin Hamilton, on July 1st.
The ambassador presented his credentials to President Ilham Aliyev. The head of state then had a conversation with the ambassador. Ambassador Kevin Hamilton emphasized that Azerbaijan is a very beautiful, dynamically developing and important country, expressing his hope that if a comprehensive peace treaty is signed between Azerbaijan and Armenia, it would provide new opportunities for cooperation in the region. The ambassador said that he wished to establish better relations in the region so that it will contribute to the development of relations both with Azerbaijan and Armenia. Noting that Canada has always supported the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Azerbaijan, the ambassador said that he is aware that active work is underway on a fair, comprehensive and permanent peace treaty. The head of state underscored that during the occupation of Azerbaijani lands, ethnic cleansing and genocide were committed there, and the territories were massively destroyed. President Ilham Aliyev stated that great efforts were made to resolve the conflict at that time. However, these efforts failed. Thus, the 3 permanent members of the UN Security Council failed to resolve the conflict, or rather, did not want to. All of them wanted the occupation carried out by Armenia to last forever due to various reasons, the Azerbaijani president mentioned. The head of state said that he came to this conclusion based on his personal experience in his presidential activities. President Ilham Aliyev recalled that starting from the end of 2003, he met with the 3 former Minsk group members and the Armenian side several times, adding that all this yielded no results. The head of state stressed that the former Minsk group members and the Armenian side did not want this, adding that Armenian side wanted to keep our lands under occupation forever. Underlining that there are now better results at the bilateral level, the head of state said that there is no interference in this process by anyone. We can come to an agreement on border delimitation and even demarcation, which is a rare case, the head of state noted. The president of Azerbaijan mentioned that although it's true that the peace treaty has not been signed yet, however, the border delimitation has already been achieved. President Ilham Aliyev emphasized that in the case of COP29, Armenia lifted its veto on Azerbaijan regarding hosting this event, and we did not oppose their participation in the governing bodies of the COP. The head of state noted that, frankly speaking, he does not think that a peace treaty between Azerbaijan and Armenia can play an important role for our bilateral relations with any country. Saying that we are diversifying our diplomatic activities at a global level, the head of state underlined that there is a declaration on strategic partnership between Azerbaijan and 10 countries of the European Union, and emphasized that most of these documents were signed during the occupation of our lands at a time when there was no peace treaty between Azerbaijan and Armenia. In this regard, the absence of a peace treaty between Armenia and Azerbaijan cannot be a factor for determining the level of activity of any country in the region, President Ilham Aliyev underscored. The head of state emphasized that for 28 years, Armenia refused to comply with the fundamental principles of international law. They violated all humanitarian laws and ignored the relevant resolutions of the UN Security Council, demanding the immediate and unconditional withdrawal of Armenian forces from the occupied territories of Azerbaijan. No one held them accountable in the slightest. A number of countries discussing the conflict did not declare loyalty to the territorial integrity of Azerbaijan. President Ilham Aliyev stressed, now after we have defeated Armenia's occupying forces on the battlefield and expelled them from our lands, we hear statements supporting our territorial integrity. But we have already secured it ourselves. Whether someone recognizes our territorial integrity or not is irrelevant. The president of Azerbaijan noted that this was important when Azerbaijani lands were under occupation. It is known that pro-Armenian sentiments and the role of the Armenian diaspora exist in some Western countries. However, when it comes to international law, these emotions should be set aside. It is important to understand that issues unresolved for 28 years are difficult to solve in 1-2 years. Moreover, substantive negotiations between Azerbaijan and Armenia only began in December. Before that, Armenia wanted to include the so-called Nagorno-Karabakh issue in the peace agreement, which was unacceptable, the president of Azerbaijan said. President Ilham Aliyev emphasized that this is Azerbaijan's internal matter. Thus, after the dissolution of the separatist regime, negotiations have been ongoing for only 6 months since December. The head of state stated that this requires time, and of course, the main condition for the peace agreement is the amendment of Armenia's constitution, because it contains territorial claims against Azerbaijan, and until this is addressed, a peace agreement will not be signed. This is a known fact. The president of Azerbaijan also noted that despite this, he believes that we are making considerable progress in the negotiation process. The head of state said, I believe we can finalize the text of the peace agreement, or at least its main principles, within a few months. During the occupation period, the mediators' plan was to agree on the basic principles known as the Madrid Principles. These principles should have been initialed with the text to be drafted later. We believe this could be an option, reaching an agreement on the basic principles, initialing them, and then working on the text. President Ilham noted that this will happen if Armenia amends its constitution. In response to the ambassador's comment on the right of return, the president of Azerbaijan stated that the right of return should be mutually ensured, including for the representatives of the Western Azerbaijan community. In this regard, the head of state noted that in various stages of the last century, the most recent being in 1988, the indigenous Azerbaijani population was subjected to ethnic cleansing from the current territory of Armenia, and their material and cultural heritage was completely destroyed. The ambassador expressed his respect for the head of state and thanked him for the information.
The head of state received credentials of newly appointed Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of the Philippines, Henry Bensurto Jr., on July 1st.
The ambassador presented his credentials to President Ilham Aliyev. The head of state then had a conversation with the ambassador. Henry S. Bensurto Jr. conveyed the greetings from President of the Philippines, Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos, to the President of Azerbaijan. President Ilham Aliyev expressed his gratitude for the greetings and asked the ambassador to communicate his greetings to President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos. Hailing the development of relations between the two countries in various spheres, the President of Azerbaijan touched upon the cooperation within international organizations in the fields of tourism and investments and people-to-people contacts. President Ilham Aliyev emphasized the importance of the visits of government delegations. Ambassador Henry S. Bensurto noted that Azerbaijan's chairmanship of the non-aligned movement has been very successful, leaving a significant legacy in this regard. The diplomat pointed out that Azerbaijan had undertaken significant steps towards institutional development of this movement. Congratulating Azerbaijan on hosting the COP29, Henry S. Bensurto Jr. said that the Philippines would also be represented in this event by a high-level delegation. The head of state thanked for the congratulations and kind words regarding the non-aligned movement and the COP29 chairmanship. President Ilham Aliyev expressed his gratitude for Philippines' support as a member country in the successful implementation of Azerbaijan's chairmanship of the non-aligned movement. The head of state underlined that within the framework of COP29, Azerbaijan, as an integral part of the Global South, will strive to strengthen solidarity and build bridges between countries.
The priorities of the social-economic development strategy of Azerbaijan and modern national energy policy targeting green growth coincide with COP goals, and presidency of COP29 strengthens Azerbaijan's role, which has been a reliable partner in fossil fuel supply in safe and just energy transition. Minister of Energy Parviz Shahbazov dwelt on this topic during his speech at the ministerial panel as part of Global Energy Transition Congress in Italy. Speaking of the national energy strategy prior to COP29, the minister spoke of the development of Karabakh and East Zangezur and Nakhchivan as zero-emission territories. He touched on the importance of the establishment of green energy corridors, Caspian Black Sea Europe, Azerbaijan Turkey Europe, as well as Azerbaijan Central Asia Europe for the transmission of energy from Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. You can get in touch with us via our WhatsApp and Telegram accounts at 051 511 1956, through which you can report events you encountered as well as share your suggestions and comments. That was all for the day. Thank you for being with us. Goodbye.